Rasmus Andersson, Calgary Flames. Malmo.
Rasmus, first of all, thanks so much for joining us.
Yep.
Nice to be in Sweden. What's the best part of it?
Malmo, southern part. Close to Copenhagen. That's the best part about it. The best part about Malmo is you're close to Copenhagen.
Quick ferry?
Yeah. No, you just take the bridge. 20 minutes, you're downtown.
That's fantastic.
Stockholm is a beautiful city.
Yeah.
Especially, I never really liked Stockholm before, but last 2-3 years, my wife has always loved it. And so we come up here and, spend at least 2 weekends a summer here. And, a lot of people move up here to study. And so we got a few friends here and that we hang out with when we're here.
Nice.
That's going to be the headline: Rasmus Andersson, Stockholm sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Clickbait. Clickbait.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Thanks
Another
for
one.
Thanks for the easy headline, Raz. Thanks for the easy headline. I think a lot of people, and I would imagine, someone on the team as well, are looking at the Calgary Flames and wondering what's going to happen and what the team is going to look like and who's staying and who's going, etc. New GM, new coach. Toffoli is now with the New Jersey Devils. What questions, as a member of the Flames, do you have about your team?
Honestly, not too much. I trust the direction we're heading in, and I trust. I've known Conroy since 2015 when I got drafted, and I know Connie how much he loves the Flames, and he wants what's best for the team, and so it's not something I question. I trust Connie, and I worked with Ryan Huska since my first year in Stockton. I've had him. Yeah. He was my head coach for 2 years. Now my assistant coach for 5 years. So I know how good of a coach Ryan is, and I'm excited to get to work with Husk as the head coach because I know how much he has developed me personally over the last 7-8 years, and so I got full confidence in both of them. And but it's you guys know it's a business with all the contracts, and when people have 1 year left in the deal, I think it's so different, right? With if you compare Lindholm to Backlund, for example, Bax has been in Calgary for 15 years, and if you're Michael, you're 34, 35 years old, you haven't won. And he said it himself. He said it in the media. It's like, as of right now, I'm not going to resign. But, if the team is doing well and we got a chance to win, I'm going to resign. But I'm going to wait and see how this year plays out. I want to win. Every player wants to win a Stanley Cup, and he hasn't done it. So, and with Lindy, it's, it's business. It's got to work for both sides of it. And with that, you don't pay too much attention to it because you hear from everyone else. I had personally, I've been in a situation, but you hear from everyone that, when it's business, it's business. It's got to work for both sides of it. And so with Lindy, that part, you're staying out of it. With Bax, you understand. And, I think Tanny is in a similar situation. If we're good, they love the city. Bax has lived there for 15 years. And, I know Chris loves the city too, and so it's two different worlds, and it's hard to compare. And but I think the guys are just excited to head back because they know what happened last year, and we want to prove everyone wrong that we are a good team. We lost 17 games in overtime. It's like that hasn't happened before, and if we win 5 of those, we're in a playoff by 3-4 points. So it's, I think we all got that chip on our shoulder this year, and we want to prove the doubters wrong.
See, that's why I think the Calgary Flames are the ultimate wild card.
Yeah.
This year in the NHL. Does it feel that way? Because listen, we all know how good this team can be, and we all know what we saw last season, where it was false start after false start after false start. Do you have a sense of how good this team can be?
Well, it's funny about last season too. The one game that really sticks out for me is we play Boston at home, the best team in the season, right? And we win the shots like 50-15. We outplay them by a margin, and we lose in overtime. Like that's how our year felt like. We had 50 games, 1-goal games, and it's like we didn't win those games. Like, so how do we, get that extra point and win the game maybe in regulation instead of overtime. We can't be scared of losing a game. We got to, go out and win it in the third and not just, we take 1 point here. We go out and win it in the third and, not be scared of losing, go out and win the game instead. And I think that was the 1 year, that was a difference between 2 years ago and last year where, we had Johnny and Matthew and Lindy, when they were really connecting, we didn't lose a game. They had 3-4 points each a night. And, when you don't have those players, you got to win as a collective. You got to win as a team. And it felt like we were scared of taking the chance towards the end of the games to go out and really win the game instead of, what, let's go out and win it. Let's not play for the tie. Let's not, and in overtime, let's keep the puck. Let's make plays. Let's, score when we got to score. And it was like, it just felt like, at times we were scared of winning the games.
One of your teammates, I talked after the season, he said to me, last year, it just, from the moment the Tkachuk trade happened, it just like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Yeah.
Like it was shock for everybody involved. Like the Goodrow thing was a shock in one way. The Tkachuk trade was a shock for another way, including the players we traded to Calgary. Then he said there was just so much noise.
Yeah.
He said to me, you know what we need? We need boredom.
Yeah.
And just quiet and play.
Yeah.
And he said that it's hard because of, you mentioned the business side of the contracts that have to get done. But he said, if we can just have a quiet year, everything here is going to be fine.
Yeah. It feels like it's never a quiet year though with the Canadian market, right?
It's a Canadian market.
And we kind of laughed about that, but he just said like, we just don't need drama. Like that's what he said. Last year there was too much drama.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And it's so hard too, right? Because the fans are so passionate. They make, they talk about every player. They evaluate every player. It's like it's so hard to have a quiet year, but it's like if you play in a Canadian market, you got to embrace the chaos. I feel like that's the one thing about it. You got to embrace the chaos. And I felt like we were, with a shock you said about the Chucky trade. You were like, I woke up, I was in Sweden, and obviously with the time difference.
Yes, late night.
And I woke up, I had like 80 texts on my phone, I wake up with my son at like 6:30 a.m. and I had like 80 texts, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And you open Twitter, you're like, Jesus. And then you're like, Jesus, we got Weeksy and Hubie and the first round and the prospect. You're like, your head was going and going and going. And then, you want to make everyone feel welcome into the team. And, for them, it was probably a shock too, because, they've only played in Florida, right? And, going from a small market to a big market, it's probably a shock for everyone. And that's why I'm excited for this year. It's like, Johnny's got to get his feet under him. He has something to prove this year. Everyone talked about, the biggest downfall from a year from another with him, point wise. And it's like, well, how good of a player he is. He's a really good player, and he has everything you need to succeed. And I feel like he's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder this year and be one of the best players again. I have no doubt about that. And, with Weeksy, everyone was like, well, he didn't have the same points, but he was like one of the best defensive defensemen in the whole league. In like every statistic category, he was one of the best. But the points came after the All-Star break. That's when the points came for him. So like after the All-Star break, he was arguably one of the best defensemen in the league. So it's like, if we just come together and, as you say, maybe quiet, but you can't have quiet in the Canadian market because everyone always writes something about the team. So it's like, embrace the chaos and let's just play. Let's have the swagger. Let's have the chip on our shoulders. Go out and prove everyone that how good of a team we are, and let's have some fun along the way, not just like the business side of it, or we got to win the game. Let's have fun. It felt like we had fun in the group, but we didn't have that much fun at the rink.
Yes.
Like we just got to have fun at the rink, have fun in practices, when we practice, but have fun before and after. And I feel like that's going to be a really big change this year when, the guys are going to come in and have a chip on my shoulder. I'm going to have a chip on my shoulder. I got to be better. Everyone's got to be better. And that's the way it is in the Canadian market. There's you can't hide anywhere. Everyone knows, everyone knows in Calgary who you are and who you represent and who you're playing for. So it's like, let's embrace it. Let's play. Let's have fun. Let's win games. Let's not be scared of losing. And I feel like that's the mentality we got to have.
The thing I want to talk about with you is, in the middle of all that chaos last year, you had a great year. Yeah. And you played really well. And it also came at a time where you suffered a pretty traumatic injury. And, I saw you spoke to one of the Swedish newspapers about it. And, just like, and what someone said to me is that you played well, serious injury, very hard year. And the way you're talking right now about embracing the chaos, they said, like, you could be the captain of this team. Like, does that appeal to you?
I mean, with social media these days, there's been a lot of talk about it, but let's put it this way. It's something you would never turn down, I think, and no player in the league would ever turn it down. And I would obviously love to be the captain of the Calgary Flames, but I feel like we have a lot of good leaders in our team, and whoever Connie and Husk, because they're such a smart persons, whoever they pick, it's going to be the right pick. And I would obviously, embrace the challenge, as I just said, embrace the challenge and embrace the opportunity. But if it's me, it's me. If it's not me, it's someone else. And whoever they pick, it's going to be the right call, because I have so much trust in Husk and Connie and the owners in Calgary that they're going to make the right call. And I feel like that's something we've missed last few years, that, in Canadian market, you need someone to step up towards the media, towards the coaches, towards the owners, because there's so much pressure on the players that, when we had Gio, he would embrace that, and he would, I'm the captain and I'll take this one. And, Bax did it to a point last year, but even he said to me, he's like, I'm like, Bax, you are the captain. He's like, no, I know-ish, but, I don't have the C, so I can't do everything I want to. And it's such a fine line with that, because in our room, we also Bax as the captain, right? But for him, it's hard, right? When we see him as the captain, but he's not the captain. And I feel like in a Canadian market, you really do need one. And if it's me, if it's Weeks, if it's Bax, Johnny, whoever it is, it's going to be the right call, and it's going to be the right step for our franchise to take the next step.
Okay, last one for me. How are you doing? Like,
good.
Just physically after everything.
I'm good. I took 5 weeks off after the season. I just honestly didn't really do anything. Me and the family went to Spain just to get away from everything, from all the chaos and stuff. And so I'm doing well now. It's just, it's kind of the talking point of the summer, right? When I see my friends and family, everyone always asks me how I'm doing, but I'm doing okay, and I'm fine now, and I'm ready to embrace the chaos.
Never a dull moment in the Canadian hockey market. And
Exactly.
Listen, you wear it well, and you're very well cut out for it. Best of luck with the Flames this year. I think it's going to be one of the more interesting teams to follow. Thanks so much.
Me
for
too.
doing this.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.